A super interesting article just released by Daily Mail kind of hits Blake Lively against Sydney Sweeney, but not for the reasons that you think. It's more about their way that they marketed two movies about DV. Of course, It Ends With Us, Blake Lively's big, huge movie that she's still embroiled in this massive legal battle around with Justin Baldoni. And then the much less successful movie about Christy Martin, the boxing movie that Sydney Sweeney just released in the last couple weeks that completely bombed at the box office. And the difference, and who do you guys think did better? And I'll give you a hint. It ain't this one. But here's why. It's actually so redeeming for Sydney Sweeney. And I bet a lot of you guys didn't even know that Christy Martin was about DV. I didn't. Sadly, I had no idea until this article. Check this out what Sydney Sweeney did right and what Blake Lively did wrong, which I think we all. So the movie about Christy Martin it just came out and obviously it did horrendous. I mean, let's be real. It got $1.3 million in opening weekend and then it dived 91% the following weekend, which is, I guess, the most a movie has ever dived. So financially, it did horrible, but review wise, it got 98% by reviewers, not by critics, but by audience, which means that the audience really, really loved it. And the most important thing is that Sydney Sweeney is getting really good reviews by awards, buzz, etc. And even though the ticket sales are horrendous, the promotional campaign, it said, struck a nerve for reasons that had nothing to do with Hollywood glitz and glamour. It's because Sydney Sweeney consistently centered Christy Martin, that's the boxer's lived trauma, rather than softening it for mass appeal, unlike maybe some other people do for Hollywood marketing purposes, emphasizing her abuse storyline that was just as crucial rather than, the other part of the movie. She talked about how to come out of the movie to be able to tell stories that are impactful, but to be able to make a difference and hopefully be an avenue for people to talk about and feel open about their own situations and people that they know. They were also very clear about protecting Christy Martin when she would be on the set. They wanted to make sure that she never had to see anything that would re-traumatize her about her own experiences, and they would give her a lot of love on the set. It was very important. They said seeing her stand there in front of all of them, I think the importance of the story we're telling really hit everyone. At every Q&A, it said Sydney Sweeney said survivors came forward to share their own emotional stories. Producers said that there are things and signs you have to look out for as you enter relationships to know how the manipulation starts. It's such a gray area. It's very important that we talk about it. Christy is alive today and she's incredible and she's just as strong on the inside. We're here just to celebrate her. It's a very personal issue that's important to me, and I hope that through Christy and her story, it can raise more awareness, Sydney Sweeney said to Variety magazine. She also further reinforced the message off screen, selecting the National Center on Domestic and Sexual Violence as her chosen charity for Variety's Power of Women event. And did you guys know this? I didn't. That she partnered with American Eagle, the company that everyone just called her a white supremacist and a NAZI for just having a jeans ad. No, she partnered with American Eagle to create the Sydney jean, which is a limited edition design featuring a butterfly motif symbolizing DV awareness, with 100% of the proceeds benefiting a crisis text line. And even when the movie didn't do well, she didn't retreat from the conversation. She said, if Christy gave even one woman the courage to take her first step towards safety, then we will have succeeded. And now we're going to go to Blake because it says, by comparison, Blake Lively's promotional tour for It Ends With Us, also a story about DV, drew intense criticism for what many viewers perceived as a tone deaf focus on aesthetics, fashion, and lighthearted chatter, i.e., see my TikToks for the last year. As you know, the movie is based on Colleen Hoover's book, and it has to do with Lily Bloom being in a relationship with Ryle Kincaid, that was played by Justin Baldoni, the neurosurgeon who becomes abusive during their relationship. But her early marketing had to do a lot with florals, romance, and Lively's creative vision rather than the trauma at the heart of the story. It says the backlash intensified after Lively hosted a breezy promotional interview with Jenny Slayton, Isabella Ferrer, and Author Hoover, during which the group laughed about zodiac signs, dream jobs, and anxiety around horses, with no mention of DV. It says, we didn't talk about the movie at all. Thanks for joining us, Lively said. You guys remember, grab your girlfriends and wear your florals and drink all the booze and just come on and watch a movie about me getting beat up by my boyfriend. Um, Obviously. She didn't really nail it on its head. However, eventually social media did get angry and say like, what's up, you're totally not doing this, and then press got involved and PR got involved, and she did later share the statement and start talking about it on her stories, etc., posting violence against women PSAs and all kinds of statistics. But a lot of people say that the corrective messaging just came too late, like it should have been the goal of the entire marketing, and that seems to be a lot of why the PR went wrong towards Blake Lively, hence why we are where we are a year and a half later. And an advocate for family and law said both Lively and Sweeney are glamour girls, but the It Ends With Us campaign prioritized beauty and superficiality, whereas the Christie campaign focused on the hard, ugly things that Christy Martin endured. Christie's promotion could have been framed as beautiful actress transforms herself, but instead, Sweeney consistently talked about telling Martin's actual story. Second noted, that's the advocate. She said it was particularly refreshing how consistent Sweeney was with this message. A lot of people gave Sydney Sweeney a lot of crap in this last year for that American Eagle campaign and a lot of other things, but I think she should get a lot of kudos for the fact that she stayed on brand and kept the message out there for DV awareness. So, all of the people that are out there getting mad at Blake Lively for not giving enough DV awareness should probably go and watch the movie Christie. I know I would.